It's very late right now, but I want to tell you a story. So like 2 weeks ago, I ended up falling down the craziest TikTok rabbit hole that I think I've ever experienced. It's also very juicy and gross. Oyster TikTok. Probably a thing that you did not know existed. So like 2 weeks ago, I was scrolling through TikTok, as one does, and I was presented with the most mesmerizing but strange live streams that I'd ever seen. It was a live stream of a very well put together woman shucking oysters. Taking an oyster, sticking a knife in, opening it up, and grabbing a pearl from the inside. It was very captivating for my slowly aging woman brain. I think I'm just like aging into the demographic that these kind of live streams poke the psychology of. That was sentences, I guess. So I jumped into this live stream and I was just watching this woman open these oysters and like pull out pearls, and she would put them in a little dish and then show them off and be like, these are your pearls, you got these colors, there are these sizes, and then she would go on to the next one. So after a while she was talking about like how she does this for a job and how everything works, and then at a point she mentioned that they are hiring. And I was like, oh, that's cool. This would be a really fun job to do. And so I asked her like, oh, is it like contract work? Is it employment? Because those are different things. Employment comes with benefits and workers' rights, whereas contract is a little bit more free form. And she was like, oh, you get a 1099, which means that it's contract work. And then she started talking about how you have to pay them $100 because they send you all the supplies that you need to start doing this. And that is a huge red flag. Just in case you've never had a real job, that's not how jobs work. In the working field, you have time or expertise or labor, and you sell that to a boss. The reason they pay you is because you are bringing in more value to the company, so they are making money off of your labor. Capitalism. Jobs pay you for the things you do. You will never have to pay your job to do something. At most, they can ask you to buy your own uniform or like safety shoes or whatever. But you should never have to pay your boss to do your job. They pay you. That's how jobs work. If you ever see something like this, if you ever see a job listing that is trying to appeal to someone who wants to work from home but doesn't have a degree, and you have to pay them a startup fee, it's a pyramid scheme. It's an MLM. It's multi-level marketing. Pyramid schemes and MLMs are like one of the worst things to come out of capitalism in terms of business structure. That being said, I love watching this woman shuck oysters. It feeds this like goblin housewife part of my brain, and they're very satisfying. I think it's gambling. I think it's because it's gambling. It's like a really weird version of those like surprise toy unboxings that they make for kids, or like loot box openings. This is the middle-aged woman version of that. There are so many of these like MLM party live streams on TikTok. There's another one that's like bath bombs where they sell jewelry, but the jewelry is inside bath bombs, and they'll like throw them in these like big tubs of water, and you get to pick which bath bomb, and then they pull out a ring and they go like, ooh, here's your ring, and then they mail it to you. But it's like you're paying a lot of money for something that is not worth that much. You're paying for the experience of watching someone unbox this on a live stream. Anyway, I ended up falling down this massive rabbit hole learning about these pearl parties and how exactly they work, and what I found is so freaking mind-bending and also kind of like really unethical. Like not just in a like human cost kind of way, but in like an animal abuse kind of way. Oh, it's getting warm in here. So I want to take a second and talk about how exactly these pearls work in the first place. Like where they come from. So oysters are actually that gooey little tongue thing that's inside of the shell. They grow the shell around them, kind of like snails. But oysters are constantly coating the interior of that shell with calcium. Yeah, calcium carbonate. Now, if a grain of sand or a little bit of debris get inside of the shell, inside of that oyster, the oyster will start coating that grain of sand the same way it coats the interior of the shell, with layers and layers of calcium. And eventually, over the course of many years, that tiny grain of sand will be coated with so many layers of calcium that it will become a tiny pebble. And that is what a pearl is. So at some point in human history, we figured out, as a species, how to farm pearls, how to take oysters still alive, put a piece of sand in there, let it sit for a couple years completely fine and alive, and then kill the oyster and take the pearl. So culturally, we have this idea that pearls are extremely valuable. However, because they are capable of being farmed, at least freshwater pearls are worthless. They're incredibly cheap. You can buy them by the pound on Amazon. The pearls that these women are selling are worth at most $1 each. And I know that because I bought some. But here's where it starts to get even more f***ed up in like an ethical way. So the pearls that these women are pulling out of these oysters are like beautiful, bright, vivid colors like blues and oranges and greens. But remember, the calcium that this pearl is made out of is the exact same calcium that is lining the interior of the shell. So if you open an oyster, you don't even have to look or find the pearl. You can look at the shell, and that is the color that the pearl should be, because that is the color of calcium that this oyster is producing. The type of pearls that are farmed are made from these type of oysters, these like massive oysters. I don't know what they're called, it'll be on screen. But part of the reason that they do that is because it's so large, you can have tons of pearls inside of it. I've also seen videos where farmers will introduce irritants that are in the shape of like stars or hearts, and then the oyster will just form a pearl around it. So you'll end up with these really cool cross or star shaped pearls, and they are real pearls. They're just farmed pearls. So these pearls that these women are selling on Facebook are farmed in one oyster, taken out, dyed, and then put back into the carcasses of different oysters. It's like the most disturbing, f***ed up pearl wrapper you could ever imagine. It's hot. I'm gonna go turn on the AC. Okay, I'm back. Where was I? Oh yeah. It's really f***ed up if you think about it. So when these like middle-aged women on Facebook say like, oh yes, it's a farmed pearl, they're not lying, but they're also not telling the full truth. I'm sure some of them don't even know the whole truth. Like imagine if there was a company that like fed jewelry to frogs and then sent them to random people so they could dissect them live, and you can buy the jewelry that's inside of these dead animals. It's kind of messed up. After that, I started looking into like random oyster shucking, oyster opening, pearl opening like tags on TikTok, and the rabbit hole just goes further. It's like it never stops. Some of these TikToks are just so strange. It's like they're trying to appeal to this like deep part of your subconscious. Like there are videos where like the thumbnail will be them holding this like polished round stone next to a giant oyster. You know that that did not come out of the oyster, and sure enough, when they like start the video, they're holding this, and then they pull it back and then open the oyster, and it's like, of course that didn't come out of the oyster. Obviously, the most insincere clickbait I have ever seen. And like every other one is like going live, and then it points to their profile, and of course they're not live. These are just videos that they posted before previous live streams. And some of the sounds on these videos are so wild. I don't even think I can play them because of copyright, but just go search like TikTok for random oyster videos. It's absolutely bizarre. It's very baffling. One of the crazy things that I realized about the whole Pearl MLM is like they charge you $100, which as far as MLMs go, that's kind of like not that high, but you can literally buy the supplies online on Amazon for like $20. I bought 10 for $12. The moral of the story is do not pay some random MILF on Facebook to open an oyster for you for $25. Spend $12 and get 10 and do it yourself. If you are considering joining one of these Pearl MLMs, don't. Just spend $25 on Amazon and get them yourself and try it. And then if it doesn't work out, you are losing way less money. And you'll get to keep the pearls. Because although they are worthless, they are fun. Like, look at this. Look at all of the colors that they are claiming are gonna come out of these. These MLM women always say that these don't smell, but as soon as I open the package, it smelled a little bit. And I know as soon as I open these vacuum sealed packs, it's gonna smell. So anyway, I'm gonna shuck some oysters now, because as horribly unethical as these things are, and as much as I think you should not join an MLM, they are very satisfying to watch. So I wanna show you what it's like and why it's so addicting. So I asked some people on Twitter to pick a number between 1, 2, and 3, and Esco Tanner, you said 2. I'm gonna go ahead and shuck you some oysters. Gonna mail you some oyster kidney stones, if you want them. I will hunt you down on Twitter and get your mailing address if you want these. If not, I will just, I don't know, give them to someone else. As you can see, they come in these plastic packaging. They're like individually wrapped. I should get some scissors. I have scissors. Okay. So there's 1 and 2. They don't smell that bad. Luckily, this isn't gonna like destroy this room. So let's see. Oh no, I changed my mind. Oh, they smell so bad. You would think that these would smell like fish. They smell like formaldehyde. Okay, so again, if this pearl actually came out of this is the color it would be. And if you look, it's like not even in the flesh of the animal. It's just chilling. It was placed. And if you look, it's like a bright, bright blue. It's very pretty. That's so pretty. But it's blue. Look at that. It's like a bead. So, Tanner, you got a blue pearl. These are 100% packaged in formaldehyde. This smells like a science project. Oh, another blue one. This one's even bigger. Tanner, you got two beautiful blue pearls that are dyed. Beautiful farmed pearls for Tanner, if you want them. When I was in junior high, I had to dissect a lamprey. That's what this smells like. My whole dissecting a frog thing was actually not that far off. Very pretty. All right, next we have beef broth. I love your username, it's amazing. Beef broth chose two, so we're gonna open these two. These two are for you, beef broth. I'm fairly certain that these ones aren't even oysters. Like, they're incredibly fragile. Yeah, this is like gooey. Oh, it's like a deep blue. This one's like a peacock blue. This one has like a green shiny. It almost looks chrome. So there's one. Ooh, this one's like a chocolate color. Look at that one. It's like a pretty chocolate color. My desk smells like formaldehyde. So beef broth, you got a pretty peacock blue and a chocolate brown. Catboy of light. Boys like pearls too, right? And you get three. So we're gonna do these three. For you, Catboy. Ooh, a very pretty bright green. Like a seafoam almost? Is this periwinkle? I can never remember what color periwinkle actually is. A very pretty bright green. Like, it's not even turning to open. The shells are just shattering. Okay, your next one is like a peachy orange. Very pretty color. Yeah, it's like a peach orange. Very pretty color. And your last one is a deep blue. There's a lot of blue ones in this. Yeah, very pretty deep blue, almost black. And those are your three. 𝙒𝙗𝙿. And you get the big one. Boom! Another very pretty champagne colored one. Very pretty. It's a little bit more like colorful than a champagne. Champagne ones are usually just kind of like a slightly peachy white. This is like orange compared to natural pearl colors, but I would call this a peach. And that will be for you. And now the very last two that I got on Amazon for me. Because I want pearls too sometimes. And, oh, it's like a teal. It's like a teal green. And the very last one, you know what, I'm just gonna break it. Ooh, another chocolate color. Come on, come out. There you go. There they are. Very pretty colors. Very strange. A chocolate and like a teal green. They are very pretty. I need to air out the room now because it smells horrible. The main takeaway I want you to have from this is don't join an MLM. Don't join any of these businesses. If you really want to do this, do it yourself, because you can do it for yourself for much, much cheaper. You probably won't lose as much money that way. Also, if you ever find yourself watching one of these like pearl party, bath bomb party live streams and you're considering buying something, just know that what you're buying is probably not that valuable. You're paying for the experience of watching someone open something on a live stream. And that's it. Just know what you're getting into. That's all I have for you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys later. Goodbye. Gotta air out the room now because it smells like formaldehyde and nasty.